that was the moment when I realized that he was going to kill me. And I remember turning to him and saying, "You're going to kill me, aren't you?" That day, it was my very first day of 8th grade. My mom came close to 5 and picked me up, and we drove home, and she stopped and got gas. And I just kind of leaned back and I kind of closed my eyes. And the next thing I know, I hear the door opening, the car door opening, and a man jumping into the car with a gun held up. I didn't really realize the gravity of what was happening until he started to pull away. You know, he pulled off the interstate and he went all the way down the road that he got off at. He took my hand and he led me into an overgrown field that was right next door to the business. I was begging for any opportunity to get away and trying to bargain, I guess, for ways for him to let me go, to get him, to convince him to let me go. And after that, he raped me. I fought, and I fought, and I fought. And at some point, you stop fighting. And this whole time, as he's raping me, he has the gun butted up against my head. And at one point, in the midst of being raped, I was able to get my hand on that gun. And then he fought me for it, I guess however much you could physically fight at that point. And he tucked it away underneath the cardboard. And I thought about shooting him for that, 0.2 seconds that I had my hand on the gun. I thought about shooting him. I imagined what would happen after that if I was able to shoot him. And I couldn't bring myself. He told me to get on my knees, close my eyes, and count to 10. I remember feeling almost a sense of relief. It was over. It was done. He was going to run away. And I remember getting to 3. Then he shot me. I remember feeling like I had been hit with a sledgehammer. I honestly thought maybe he had punched me. There are days when I haven't worked hard enough to push the memories to the back of my head. And I feel the burn down my face and out the back of my neck. And it's crazy because so many people ask me, when did you first realize that you had been shot? And I can never remember because it's all just part of the same moment. You never forget. I mean, those of us that survive, we don't forget that moment. Even when you think you're unconscious, you still have moments of being aware. I remember all of that. Every moment that my ears were open to the world around me, I remember. The first few months were all about physical recovery. So a lot distracted from any other mental or emotional concerns. I suffered a stroke, so I had temporary paralysis on the left side of my body. And this front part of my head was shaved, and I had 80 staples going from here to here. People think that if you're a gunshot survivor and you survive, that's the end of the journey. They think you walk out that hospital door and that's it. And it's just so far from the truth. I wanted to go back to being normal. To being 13. For years, wherever I walked around, everybody who knew me, everybody in my family, teachers, everybody, I was the girl who had been shot. And I dealt with it in my own way because, again, there was this sense around me that it's not something you talk about. Well, you know, part of the struggle has been the fact that I am a multi-trauma survivor. Kidnapping, rape, gunshot survivor. Out of all of that, if he just would not have pulled that trigger, my life would be so different. So different. That millisecond decision that he made destroyed the entire rest of my life. The sounds that I hear at night, the being scared of a car, you know, backfiring in the parking lot, taking the garbage can to the street at night after it's dark, terrifies me. And it's all just because he chose to pull the trigger. Nobody makes those connections between what the real impact is to that decision. I mean, it's a millisecond. The decision that you're making is to torture somebody every day for the rest of their life. And you know what really makes me angry is that so many other people are okay with that. Okay with him pulling the trigger. Okay, you know, with this being a part of life. And shame on anybody who can go about their day and not have our stories impact them. You know, I have a mother and a father and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and cousins and friends, and every single one was impacted. Nobody makes that go away, but I want people to know that it's, no matter how broken you feel, you can take that next step forward. Because at some point, you just kind of have to say, okay, this is it, and figure out where you go from there.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.